in half a dozen Balkan countries. He would hold party meetings in my apartment, pointing to one or another of the comrades and giving them assignments with the words, Ti-to, you dead. He did this so regularly we nicknamed him Tito. My stint in prison wasn't wasted. I discovered that, for want of a mirror, a girl could see her reflection in a cup of coffee well enough to apply lipstick, without which I feel unprotected. Despite my arrest, my clandestine work for Moscow Center had fortunately gone undetected. You could make the case that I was at the opposite end of the spectrum from a Vestal virgin. I had taken lovers when it pleased me to take lovers, but I was careful to keep an emotional distance between us, which is why they invariably ended up becoming former lovers. The truth is, I'd never really been intimate with a male of the species before the Englishman. Intimate in the sense of taking pleasure from giving pleasure. Intimate in the sense of feeling that waking up mornings next to a stark naked Homo erectus was an excellent way to begin the day. Ah, the Englishman. You won't believe how innocent he was when he appeared on my doorstep. Handsome in a timid sort of way, painfully unsure of himself, suffering, I later learned, from chronic indigestion, talking with an endearing stammer that became more pronounced when the subject turned to social or sexual intercourse. I could tell right off, girls are born with a sixth sense for body language. He'd never gotten laid, at least not by a female. Whether by a male is another matter entirely. Late one night, when we could hear artillery shells exploding in the workers' quarter across town, the Englishman downed a schnapps too many and told me he'd been buggered, as he put it. I never did discover if this initiation took place at one of those posh British boarding schools that don't light grate fires until water freezes in the faucets, or later at Cambridge. I happened to have had enough intercourse with the King's English, not to mention the King's Englishmen, to know what buggered meant. Forgive me if I don't share the details. I'm rambling. Oh dear, I do ramble when I talk about the Englishman. Yes, I was saying that, sexually speaking, he was green behind the ears when he fell into my life. I would have been surprised to learn he'd ever set eyes on a young woman's breast, much less touched one. He certainly didn't know how to unfasten a brassiere. When we finally got around to sharing a bed, which was 10 days after he moved into my spare room, it quickly became apparent he had only a theoretical notion of feminine anatomy. But, to his credit, in sex as in espionage, he was a quick study. "Where did you learn to fuck like that?" I drowsily asked him the morning after that first night. "You bloody well taught me," he said. "Your orgasm is on my lips. I can taste it." This, friends, turned out to be quintessential Philby. Kim to his mates, Harold, Adrian, Russell to the upper-caste English swells who happened by our table to sponge cigarettes when we took tea, as we did almost every afternoon, even in winter, on the terrace of the Café Herrenhof. But I skip ahead. The tale is best told chronologically. Try to imagine my stupefaction when, responding to a knock so tentative it was almost inaudible, thinking it was the Negro come to deliver coal, I opened the door of my 3-room flat to find a young gentleman shifting his weight from foot to foot in excruciating uncertainty, a rucksack hanging off one lean shoulder, a small but elegant leather valise on the floor next to his swanky, albeit scuffed, hiking boots. My first fleeting thought was that I was in the presence of someone who had wandered into the wrong century. He had the soft, pink cheeks of an adolescent who almost never needed to shave, dishevelled hair with the remnant of a part in the middle, wrinkled flannel trousers with a suggestion of a crease, frayed trouser cuffs, pinched by metal bicycle clips, a belted double-breasted leather motorcycle jacket with an oversized collar turned up, a beige silk scarf knotted around his throat, motorcycle goggles down around his neck, a worn leather motorcycle bonnet, The kind someone might have worn when motorcycles were first invented, hanging from a wrist. "There is no number on your door," he said, "but as you are between 6 and 8, I decided you must be 7. I worked my fingers through my freshly minted blonde page boy to see if the chemist's peroxide was still damp. "What were you hoping to find at number 7? I demanded, laying the foundation.